This is my level 56 Druid, and this is a Pulverize Zoo build with all companions. I'll show more gameplay running a Nightmare dungeon after I finish describing this build. The active skills are Earthen Bulwark, Ravens, Poison Creeper, Wolves, Wind Shear, and Pulverize. So it's a full companion build, and I'm maxing all three of them. And also a lot of the damage is coming from Pulverize. So I'll show all of the legendaries that I'm using and their aspects, but first let's quickly look at all of the skills for this build. So as the resource generator, I'm using Wind Shear, Enhanced Wind Shear, and Wild Wind Shear. And this works well for generating spirit. For the core skill, I'm using Pulverize, and Pulverize does a ton of damage because of Enhanced Pulverize, which guarantees an overpower every 12 seconds. So this is a massive amount of damage. You can kite around and group up the enemies, and then every 12 seconds do a massive amount of damage to all of them. This is an AoE slam. And also Raging Pulverize, so that that overpower will also stun all of the enemies. Got some passives here, Heart of the Wild, I'll be maxing this. And Wild Impulses. I'm still missing 3 skill points from the Renown. I need to finish that up. So Heart of the Wild is maxed, will be maxed, and Wild Impulses. For the defensive skills, I'm using Earthen Bulwark, just rank 1. Enhanced Earthen Bulwark, and Preserving Earthen Bulwark. For the companions, I'm using all 3 companions. Max rank Wolves, or they will be once I finish up the Renown skill points. Poison Creeper, max rank, and Ravens. So, and then I have Enhanced Wolfpack, Brutal Wolfpack, Enhanced Poison Creeper, Ferocious Poison Creeper, Enhanced Ravens, and Ferocious Ravens. For the passives in the companion skill area, I'm using max rank Nature's Reach and max rank Call of the Wild. I'll talk about the rotation in a moment. Let's see, for the Wrath skills, just some passives, Crushing Earth. And I have one of the legendary aspects makes it so that Pulverize is also an Earth skill. So that synergizes well with Crushing Earth. And I also have the key passive Earthen Might. So Pulverize works with both of these. Because one of the legendary aspects, it's the Ursine Horror, changes Pulverize into an Earth skill. So I'm using Crushing Earth, max rank, and just 1 point into Safeguard. Also using Neurotoxin, 1 point, and max rank in Venom. For the ultimate skills, just some passives, max rank Quick Shift. And again, the key passive that I'm using is Earthen Might. And the rotation is, I basically group up a whole bunch of enemies. I start with, and you'll see this in the gameplay after this build description. I use Earthen Bulwark initially so that I don't die immediately. I then drop Ravens in the center of the mass of enemies. And this applies Vulnerable because of the passives for Ravens. It applies Vulnerable to all of the enemies within it. It does a good amount of damage too. And then I use Poison Creeper. And this is where most of the damage is coming from, is Poison Creeper. This ability hits really hard. It does a whole lot of damage. And I have actually have a legendary aspect which doubles the damage of this and consumes it instantly. So I'll show you that in a moment. And then I Pulverize. Okay, sorry. So the rotation is Earthen Bulwark, Ravens, Poison Creeper, Pulverize. And this is after I've generated some spirit. So I'll start off first by making sure that I have enough spirit to do at least 1 Pulverize. And once I have that Spirit to do the one Pulverize. I run around, I group up a bunch of enemies. I start with Earthen Bulwark, Ravens, then Poison Creeper. So 1, 2, 3, and then Pulverize. And that is the rotation. And then I send my wolves. Like if there's an elite target or some target remaining, I send my wolves as a to attack that target as the final part of the rotation. So generate Spirit, 1, 2, 3, Pulverize, and then wolves. Okay, so let's look at the Paragon really quickly. I should also show the specialization. So for the Paragon, I'm still just on the starter board, but for this board I'm using the Werebear glyph. I've ranked it up a few ranks, and I'm almost to my next board. And of course, just getting willpower as a druid. Okay, and for the spirit boons, I'm using, I might update this later, but this is working. This has been working well all the way up through mid game. Wariness for the deer. For the eagle, I'm using Scythe Talons. For the what is this? For the wolf, I'm using Pack Leader and Energize. And for the snake, I'm using Masochistic. It's a snake or serpent. So I mentioned this is working very well in mid game, and I think that this would also be viable. This should scale all the way into end game or late game. But then you know, there's some other builds that are really amazing for Druid if you can find the uniques required for them, like the werewolf build. There's a unique staff that creates an amazing. It enables an amazing werewolf build with the Druid. So I plan on switching to that if and when I can ever find that unique staff, and this would need to probably happen before the first season because I'm going to play something else for the first season. Okay, so let's look at the legendaries really quickly. This is the for the aspect for the helm. You can see I have +2. I got really lucky with this roll. It's +2 to all companions. So +2 to wolves, +2 to ravens, and +2 to poison creeper. And the aspect that's on this is exploiters. So this is either increasing the stun duration from the overpower from the pulverize, or the it's increasing the other CC from like the poison creepers too, because poison creeper roots all of the enemies. Or if the enemies are unstoppable, and this is why this aspect is really great. For a lot of the bosses, they're unstoppable, and it's giving me 47% increased damage to those unstoppable enemies. So that's exploiters. For Quicksand, the aspect on here is the next aspect is Quicksand, and it makes it to where damage from earth skills slows the enemies. And again, Pulverize is now an earth skill because of this next aspect, which is Ursine Horror. So damage from earth skills slows enemies by 25% for 5 seconds. This energizes with the previous aspect as well, exploiters. So this is a guaranteed slow coming from my Pulverize itself. The next aspect is Ursine Horror. This is key to this build. This is really important because it's making it to where Pulverize is also an earth skill, which makes it synergize with the other legendary aspects and also those the key passive and that other passive which works with earth skills, which one was that? Crushing Earth, and also Safeguard. So Ursine Horror is very important for this build. Mending Stone is the next aspect, and there's I should have mentioned this already. There's a simplified list of all of the aspects in the video description, if you're just looking for that. The duration of Earthen Bulwark is increased by 6 seconds, so this is for more survivability. Killing an enemy with earth skills replenishes barrier. So this is Mending Stone. Then the next aspect is Ballistic, and this can be changed. There's a couple other options here, but I like this for the extra damage. You could also go with there's one for, I think it's called Wind Shear, which makes it to where you run faster after attacking with a basic attack or something like that. So you could have increased mobility, but I like the damage here. I'm okay with running a little more slowly and just doing more damage. So this makes it to where when you have Fortify, which you will get from, I think it's Earthen Bulwark. Yep. you get +2 ranks to Earth skills. So this adds to Pulverize when you have your Earthen Bulwark shield active. For the weapon, I'm using Stampede, and weapons get 2 times bonus. It's 200% of the normal legendary aspect value. So I'm getting 38% more damage with my companions, and this applies to ravens, poison creeper, and wolves, all 3. So 38% damage from this aspect, Stampede. The next one is Changeling's Debt. This is also really important. This works really well with this build because most of my damage is coming from Poison Creeper and Pulverize, and this makes it to where all of the poison damage that gets queued up by Poison Creeper, when I hit a poisoned enemy with Pulverize, it consumes all of the poison damage and applies it instantly. So it turns it into direct damage, changes it from damage over time into direct damage. First I poison the enemy with Poison Creeper, and then when I hit that enemy with Pulverize, it consumes the poison and does double the damage. I can, like my full Wombo combo will kill an elite, with the one combo most of the time. And it does a huge amount of damage to bosses too. So this synergizes really well with the Poison Creeper, Changeling's Debt, legendary aspect. For the next legendary aspect, I'm using Shepard's Ring. This makes it to where core skills deal an additional 8% damage for each active companion. Stampede, that's on my weapon, I get 1 additional companion from that. So for all of the companions that I'm using, this aspect synergizes the Shepard's Ring. And then for the other aspect, I'm using this unique. It's the Lilith unique ring, Mother's Embrace. This helps though with spamming Pulverize for even longer. This is the Pulverize Zoo build with all companions. And now I'll show the gameplay in a Nightmare dungeon.